Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and it is Mailbag time. This show was recorded on Tuesday, so please, if anything happens in some of these questions, keep that in mind. A lot of juicy questions to get to. We're going to first hit the Super Chats, and then we will get into all y'all's questions. But to make sure that you can watch all our mailbags, to make sure you can tune in to our Raiders vs. Vikings watch party, guess what you got to do? Hit that subscribe button for free Raiders videos all season long. Brandon Jasper, with all of this money, I want a right tackle and linebacker. Thoughts? I want Darrell Williams, and I agree with you. I think a linebacker like Jamie Collins makes some sense. I think Donta Hightower makes some sense. If you do not want to spend big on Darrell Williams, the next name that comes up to me is probably a Bobby Massey. But for me, it's almost like it's honestly almost Darrell Williams or bust, because if you want to see what you got in Alex Leatherwood, then sure, maybe you trot him out there, see what he can do. But Darrell Williams would really help out players like a Dylan Parham, like an Alex Leatherwood, ultimately achieve what they're trying to do, which is become a good NFL player. Let's go to Gregory. Do we have an updated status for Waller and Perriman extension? Unfortunately, no. I know some people are slightly overreacting because Waller has missed, I believe this was his 4th or 5th straight practice today in terms of Tuesday practicing. I don't know exactly when or if it's going to happen for Perriman. Darren Waller will get a new contract, and I'm going to sit up on this studio and say that he will get a deal by the time the season starts. Let's go to Raiderman01. Let's get ready to just win, baby. Let's get some JWBs, because I don't care if it's a preseason game. I'm always ready to have a good time, and I'm always about just win, baby. The NFL preseason game, Jeremy and I, we're going to be live, so please keep that in mind. And I can't wait to also, we're going to be getting the new guy, Patrick. He's been around here a few times chugging some boots. He's going to be here on Sunday, and we're going to try to get him effed up because he's a Vikings fan. Let's go to Patrick B. Super Chat time. Mitch, how does the wide receiver spot look? Averett and Yasin as cornerback 1 and cornerback 2. I'll tell you this. They are right now the top 2 cornerbacks on the outside. Nate Hobbs is the best corner on our team. So if the Raiders want to put him on the outside, that also allows Anthony Averett to play on the inside. And when he first got signed, I said that he had that ability. He's quick, twitchy. He's actually one of the players that I thought played the best up against Tyreek Hill last season, because he doesn't do the best in zone situations. He, to me, is a little bit more of a man corner, but Amik Robertson's been looking good, so you could put him out there. But I would say your top 3 corners right now, Nate Hobbs is clear-cut 1, Rock Ya-Sin is 2, Anthony Averett's 3. It really just comes down to where does Nate Hobbs want to play. Patrick B., you're a real one, my dog. Cheers to you. Oh, let's go to Bama Raider. Should the Raiders trade for Roquan Smith? I knew it was only going to be a matter of time before I got a Roquan Smith question. Now, let's face the facts. Roquan is a good linebacker. Some people would say he's top 5. I'm not going to put him in my top 5. I'd probably, though, put him around the top 15-ish type of area. When you look at the numbers, they're impressive. 163 tackles, 3 sacks, 12 tackles for loss. One of the things, though, that I always try to illustrate to Raiders Report watchers is you can't just look at tackles. You can't just look at certain numbers and think, okay, because this player had 163 tackles, he's an absolute baller. It's not always the case. The other issue is this. The Raiders have good linebacking depth when you talk about the top 3 players on screen. Denzel Perriman is a run stopper. Divine Diablo, I think, has upside to be a top 10 linebacker. Jayon Brown is a good coverage linebacker. Now, sure, you got Kenny Young, who's an okay 4th guy. Darian Butler's got some upside. Curtis Bolton's a run stopper. And then Lucas Masterson. But my question to all of you out there is, should the Raiders trade for Roquan Smith? Type that Y for yes, or you can type your N for no, because for me personally, I'm going to avoid it. I don't know if it makes a lot of sense to make a move for Roquan, not because he's not a talented player, but for how much money you're going to have to pay him, because he wants to get paid big-time bucks. And then on top of that, you're going to have to give up significant draft capital. I would rather invest my money in going out and getting a bigger position of need, like an offensive tackle, like a defensive tackle, and try to win in the trenches instead of going out and getting a linebacker, because I view linebacker as the running back position on offense. It's easily replaceable. Let's go to Andrew B., man. You're next up here on the Raiders Report. Although there was plenty of bad with Gruden and Mayock, they did have some great late-round picks, not early. You're right. And I've said this a few times because personally, when you see the amount of picks that they hit on and later in the rounds, right, Max Crosby, Hunter Renfrow, Nate Hobbs, it's frustrating because if you hit on your first rounders, that's how dynasties start. When you have cornerstone players that are some of the best in the league and you get them that late, that's how not just it's how dynasties start. And I wish we would have hit on some of those first rounders, man. Let's go to King Higgins, Super Chat time. Need Williams, to be honest. I'm always about the honesty. Also, are the Raiders out on Sue? I don't think the Raiders are out on Sue at all. I understand that Ndamukong has gone a little bit silent. Personally, what I think it is for him is he knows the longer that he goes without signing with a team, he's probably actually going to make more money. Or he is going to gamble here a little bit, and if there are no teams interested, then sure, maybe he doesn't end up going to a team. But if I'm Ndamukong Suh, I know this. I know that I can still bring value to a squad, so whether I get signed now or if I get signed a little bit later in the season, because essentially I think Ndamukong's waiting for an injury to happen. When an injury happens, then some of these veterans, they end up getting signed to teams. Ndamukong is still out there. The Raiders are still interested in Suh. Let's go to Blake Dufresne. Mitch, when are you getting a podcast? I mean, I could make an argument. I kind of already have a podcast. Now, the issue is this. I like making YouTube videos. I like doing stuff on air. And if you want like a podcast theme, I would tell people to go to Locals, where you get 2 extra videos every week, 1 weekly live show. We do interactive posts and polls. If you want to DM me and I get back to you within 24 hours, it's over on Locals. Ultimately, it's just easier access to have conversations with me, get extra Raiders content, and you can listen to it like you would a podcast. You can minimize the screen and it plays in the background. So if you guys are looking for an awesome Raiders podcast from me, that's essentially 3 extra videos that you're not getting on YouTube, go to RaidersReport.locals.com, or you can scan that QR code right there, and you got yourself covered. Let's go to Coxie Pup. Mitch, after we get Darrell Williams, is it possible to trade for Payne from Washington? Is it possible? Sure. I know Daron Payne has been a name that I've brought up multiple times here. I don't see the Commanders moving on from him. He's a really good player, and yes, he's got this opportunity. He's like, 25 years old? But the Commanders understand that if they want to compete in that division, they need the defensive help because Carson Wentz ain't that dude. But you're very optimistic that we're going to get Darrell Williams. I'll tell you what, if that happens, we're going live, and Jeremy and I, it's not going to be quite Devontae Adams unless y'all want it to be, but it's going to be a party. There's no doubt about that. Let's go to the greatness of the Raiders. What is your depth chart at defensive tackle? I mean, it really hasn't changed, and I am basing my depth chart off of what I personally know and what I believe, and that is when Jonathan Hankins and Bilal Nichols are fully healthy, they're going to be your top 2 DTs. Then Neil Farrell Jr., Matthew Butler, those guys are also going to get into the rotation. Ultimately, Las Vegas, I think, keeps 5 defensive tackles. Maybe Vernon Butler gets a spot in there. But if you want to have at least a little bit of confidence in this unit from top to bottom, you need to add another player because, I'm sorry, it's one of the weakest defensive tackle units in the league. Super Chat time. This one's coming in from Raider J. Just had a baby boy named Jackson after Bo Jackson. Raider Nation for life. That is the definition of a just win baby. Congratulations to Raider J. Congratulations to your, I guess, is it wife, girlfriend, baby mama, whoever. Congratulations, man. That's really exciting. And I love the name Jackson. I've actually talked to Alex about if we get another dog, name him Jackson. Yeah, I know, right? No babies yet. RaiderMan01, hey, Mitch. Everything aside, what can possibly be a legit reason the Raiders have not tried to sign Darrell Williams? I just don't get it. Just win, baby. Well, it's not always just the Raiders. Sometimes it's these veteran free agents that, to be honest with you, they don't want to go through training camp. They don't want to go through the preseason. They want to pull what KJ Wright did last year, and they wait. And then when you look at the Raiders' final preseason game, which is going to be the 26th of August, and then the Raiders' first game is September 11th, there's 2 weeks there essentially, maybe even, technically a little bit more, where a veteran's like, I can learn the defense. I can come in, and then I can absorb as much as humanly possible, and then you go on from there. And that's what I believe you see some of these players like Williams, players like Ndamukong, some of these older guys that have been around the NFL for a little bit longer. Let's go to Daniel Clarkson. I almost thought this said Carlson. What is a fair trade for Roquan? All right. When I think of fair trade, all right, I'm just going to say in terms of what I think the Raiders and what I think the Bears would want from top to bottom, and you could throw out a few different ideas here in terms of what you could get. Here's the one thing I know. Roquan's going to want a lot of money, and for that reason, I don't know how much personally I would want to give up for him because, again, it's going to be a lot of money. So let's just say this. Let's say Raiders get Roquan Smith, you get Teven Jenkins, and then let's go DeMarcus Robinson, a third-round pick, and then a sixth-round pick. Does that work, Jeremy, if you can make that graphic for me? The other reason why I'm not going to give up too much in terms of money or in terms of draft capital is because Roquan wants to get paid like some of these guys on this list that you just saw. I don't know if I want to pay a linebacker that much money because I believe linebackers are easily replaceable. In terms of a trade, I'm trying to figure out a trade that works well for the Raiders. Like, if I can get Teven Jenkins, a player that I viewed as a first-round talent, and he wants out of Chicago, okay? Roquan wants out. If two players want out, I'm not going to pay the max value. I'm going to pay a little bit of a cheaper price. So the fact that they were willing to trade Khalil Mack for a second and a sixth, let's go a third and a sixth for Roquan, and then we'll throw in DeMarcus Robinson for Teven Jenkins because the Bears right now, they got like 5 players that are injured. So that's my trade idea. How about this, though? Who wins this deal right here? Do you think it's the Chicago Bears, or do you believe it's the Las Vegas Raiders? Type CHI for the Bears in the live chat. Or if you think it's the Raiders, type LV. If you're a real one out there, take a screenshot of this, and if you could, post it on Twitter, post it on Instagram, post it on Reddit, because I've found my name on the Reddit walls very, very recently, and just tag me at Mitchell Renz 365. Let's go to one of the OGs here, Juan Hernandez. Did you hear Beast Mode got arrested? I did. It's just one of those things. Uber. Now, Marshawn has never been afraid to say that he's, looking to have a good time, especially in Las Vegas. His mugshot photo looks like, it honestly looked like what Jeremy and I looked like after that Thursday watch party game. It's rough to see. And all joking aside, just take a freaking Uber, man. There's no room for that in today's world with all the other options out there, especially when you have the amount of money that somebody like Marshawn Lynch does. I'm glad he's okay, and I'm glad he didn't injure anyone. That's my take on it. Let's go to Yo-Yo 420666. What's up with the fight that broke out of camp today with Max Crosby? I messaged Max. Obviously, he has yet to get back to me, so I'm curious if he does a little bit later on today. From what I have understood, it's guys competing. And when you compete, when you care, sometimes, a fight's going to break out. I think it was a little bit overblown on Twitter. It sounded like Crosby all day today was just kicking butt. When I say today, I mean Tuesday. It sounds like Crosby was just mopping people. Crosby mops a lot of offensive linemen in the league. John Simpson got a little bit upset about it. Dylan Parham, being a rookie, wanted to stick up for one of his older players. And Crosby started having some pushing and shoving. The team came in, and as far as I'm concerned, it's guys competing and it's guys caring, which I'm not going to be upset about. What up, Jeff Rogers? I made a $100 bet with a Dolphins fan that the Raiders will have a better record than them. Will I collect my money? I hope so. I will say this, the Dolphins have a easier schedule than the Raiders do, so that might be my only reason to say pump the brakes a little bit. If Tua Tagovailoa can play like a top 15 QB, I think you might lose that bet because that offense is legit. They got a good defense. Personally, I think one of the teams most likely to get Roquan Smith is actually the Miami Dolphins, or I'd probably say the Tennessee Titans. But I also don't see Tua being a good quarterback. I don't have faith in him whatsoever. And for that reason, I don't see him getting to 9-10 wins. What up, Liam? Seems like the Bears are tanking, trading away Khalil Mack and now Roquan. What about Robert Quinn? I mean, we've already talked about Teven Jenkins. We talked about Roquan. Robert Quinn has been a player that's been linked to the Raiders, and a lot of the reasons why you see a lot of these places like a Bleacher Report, like an ESPN, or some of these other content creators link Robert Quinn to the Silver and Black is because the Raiders have Champ Kelly, who was working with Chicago last season, and he's in the front office, so he can pull a lot of these strings. Would I make a deal for Robert Quinn? It's always going to come down to money, but what do y'all think about this? Pick one to trade for. Roquan Smith or Robert Quinn? Type RQ for Quinn, type RS for Smith. If you're looking at the short term, if you're looking at just this upcoming year and this year only, probably going to take Robert Quinn. That might be a hot take for some people. I just believe the edge is a bigger need. If you're going long term, then the answer is pretty easy. It's Roquan Smith. If you guys haven't already, please don't be shy. Hit me up on Instagram. Hit me up on Twitter, where I think that I keep you guys up to date on all the latest news and rumors going on, not only around the Raiders, but around the NFL. I'm actually surprised when I go on Twitter, when I go on Instagram, the amount of, or the lack thereof content, or the lack thereof coverage around the team is. I update my Instagram stories. I put stuff out there on Twitter. Why? Because I care and I want you guys to know what's going on. Let's go to Stan Lara. I suspect we lose either Waller or Foster if no one takes a team-friendly deal, especially with the Perriman contract looming among other needy positions. Mitch, thoughts? As much as I like Foster Moreau, he's replaceable to me. Darren Waller, they don't grow on trees, right? It's one of the reasons why I had my take earlier in the offseason that I would rather give my money to Darren Waller than Hunter Renfrow. It's not because I don't like Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow, to me, though, is more easily replaceable than a player like Darren Waller. But, yes, you are going to have certain situations as the time goes on that if you don't have enough money or if you pay certain people, other guys end up leaving. It's just the way it is. But Foster, to me, is more easily replaceable. And if he, tests free agent waters, best of luck to him. All right, guys, if you haven't already, hit that notification bell. What the hell am I talking about? There is a bell underneath the YouTube video. Whether you're watching on your phone, if you're on your desktop, click that bell, then click all. So when I drop a video, you're notified, and you can get down in the comments. Now, what I like to see people doing is trying to race to be the first people to comment on a video. Believe it or not, that helps me out. My bosses think it looks good, and it tells YouTube that you care, which means, again, it's helping me out and get the video out there. So major shout out to Aaron, Mark, Dominic, Steven, and Will. Appreciate you guys joining the Noti Gang. So all I tell people to do, type Noti Gang, type Raiders. I look to see those are the people that I know are always watching my videos. Let's go to Brandon Jasper Super Chat time. Record after the first 5-game gauntlet. I believe when I did my initial Raiders projection in terms of wins and losses, I had them at 3-2. It's been a while since I've done that video, though. I'm going to stick with my initial gut. 3-2, and then 10-7 is how I finished, how that, video finished. But there's still a lot of room where they can grow. But I am worried if the injuries keep popping up, you'll start losing some depth. Does get a little bit interesting, man. Let's go to Vincent. What up, my dog? Raiders, I know everyone is concerned with the offensive line. But if you think about the Bengals last year and their offensive line, they were still able to do great things. They made the Super Bowl, for God's sake. The Bengals offensive line was an eyesore. And I don't know if it was a bottom 5 O-line. It was definitely up there, though. And you're right. They were able to do a lot of great things. Joe Burrow had a lot of talent around him. But even with that being said, the Raiders' offensive line is worse right now, I think, than what the Bengals' line was last season. I don't want there to be a situation where Derek Carr goes down, because if DC goes down, the Raiders' season, unfortunately, I believe is over.